Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of TRB Collectibles. My name's Tom and I will be your guide through the Santee swap meet. Now on this week's adventure I am not alone. I am joined by Chris and this is our second time coming to the Santee swap meet. We've been here once before and if you haven't checked out that episode, I'll be sure to link it down in the description below. But as always, we are here trying to find the most profitable items to flip for a decent profit. Now, we got here around 9:30, 10 o'clock, which is fair for a Saturday at a swap meet in San Diego. Comparably at Kobe swap meet, you can get there as early as 7 as a buyer, but as a seller, you get there a little bit earlier to set up. And on a Saturday or Sunday at Kobe swap meet, there are plenty of vendors everywhere and a lot of stuff and maybe no room to move and parking is a headache. Here we pulled up with no problem. We walked right in, but the first thing that we noticed is that there was a lot of space in between the vendors. Like we were walking at certain points vast distances in between the vendors, and we thought, wow, it's kind of odd that they set up so far away from each other. And so for the rest of the sale, we tried to figure out why this was the case. Maybe Santee is not as popular as Kobe, and people just didn't want to come and sell here. So we tried to figure it out. Stay tuned, and we actually figure out why it was so empty by the time we got here. So there are many types of sellers at a flea market. In particular, this one is a little bit hidden because these items are not priced, and to be honest, sealed packaged is rather easy to sell online, am I right? But there are a lot of people that don't necessarily want to sell online that would rather sell in person. And in order to lure people towards their booth or their wares, they're not necessarily going to mark that price because they want to talk to you about it and haggle a little bit. So in terms of me wanting to get a better price for resale, it's not going to work out as well because they're using comps from eBay to get their in-person pricing. As you can see what she's about to charge me for one of the figures.
Beast Machines one? How much did you want for that?
Which one's that one?
This one.
I'll do 15 on that one.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that with you then.
Okie dokie, no worries.
Now the way this is being sold is perfectly fine. You're just waiting for the right buyer, but you're utilizing eBay and online sources to get your pricing. Since it's not marked, you're going to naturally have that conversation and try to understand where that person is in terms of pricing. And usually they'll get $5 to $10 within what's in their mind for their price point, or they'll overprice it and sit on it for a couple weeks. The only concern is that it's sitting in the sun, and by the time you pack it and unpack it out of boxes, it deteriorates the product. So in-person selling can work well, but remember there's no fees and a lot of it is a cash business. So what you put into it is what you get out of it. So it can work out really well depending on what you buy it for. Here's an example of what I was talking about. You see the booth to the right, and then we have the booths to the left, and then there are booths all the way down there. And there was no vendors in between, which really didn't make a lot of sense. And then we started seeing these vendors pack up. And at this point, it's only 10 o'clock. So we didn't understand what was happening. Do not pass on looking up tennis rackets. In the secondary market, they hold a very good value depending on the brand that you find, because in the primary market, they're already very expensive. Now, the weight is not bad on a tennis racket, but it's the length of when you have to ship it that you could run into concerns based on value and how much profit you can make. I made a whole video on how to pack and ship a tennis racket, and tell you all about the exceeding fees that potentially you could have with packing a tennis racket in that video. I'll go ahead and link it down below, but don't pass on a tennis racket. There's really good profit to be had. One of the very first items I sold as a reseller was printer ink. Yep. Printer ink can do very well. As you know, it's already expensive in the store. The only concern that you should know is that you need to check it for an expiration date. There are a couple reasons why. eBay says that you can't sell expired printer ink. Do people sell expired printer ink? Yes, but it has a higher rate of return due to that the ink itself in the cartridge dries out. So when they take that ink cartridge, put it in their printer, it will print improperly, causing a return. So if you choose to sell an expired ink cartridge, be aware that potentially you could get a return due to the ink drying out in the cartridge itself. But if you want to take that risk, it's all up to you. There's profit to be had or a return. Your choice. The number one item I sell in my store more than any other category are DVDs. Yep, I make a ton of profit on them, but I take the time to make sure I know what I'm looking at. Now, over the course of time, I learned DVDs so I don't have to look them up anymore. But I learned that live concerts and docuseries do really well. It's clear that somebody has come before me and cherry-picked all these, in which they don't actually have a value. But if you find the right ones that people are looking for, especially for those collections, they will pay up for those live concerts. And it's a really decent profit, so always be on the lookout for that. Remember how we, not too long ago, talked about how the space in between all the vendors was a little bit vast and there wasn't a lot to be seen? Well, we actually learned why that was. And compared to Kobe Swap Meet, Santee Swap Meet operates a little bit differently in time. Kobe Swap Meet opens to sellers at 6:30 and open to buyers at 7 a.m. Santee, they're a little bit different.
You know what the surprising thing is?
What?
It closes at 1, but it somehow feels like...
They're already closed.
Correct. So, like, how early do you have to get to this one?
I guess 8.
I guess?
My bad.
Because no, it's not you. But unlike Kobe, like, they close at like 3.
And you don't
People
pack up until like 2:30.
Correct. Here it's like, oh, we've been here an hour. Let's go home now. Here, I'm gonna finish this and that, and then I've finished.
Yeah, I gotta do the front. That's all.
And then I finished everything.
You heard that right. Sellers come as early as 4:50 a.m. and buyers can come at 5 a.m. to start buying stuff here at the Santee Swap Meet. That is incredibly early. Now, don't get me wrong. There's probably excellent stuff here at Santee at 5 o'clock in the morning. I just don't know if I can bring myself to wake up that early, or if I have to wear a headlamp to see what I'm actually buying. But to be honest, it makes sense, because when we're standing in the middle of this parking lot in San Diego, California, it's not like Florida where it's hot and humid, but it is quite hot. So it makes sense that the sellers want to get their stuff in and get their stuff out and move on. So at 10 o'clock, when we're looking through this stuff, these are the sellers that just kind of have too much stuff that they're trying to get the stragglers. But that's also why we were the only ones in the parking lot, because everybody else knew to come earlier. So you live and learn. Everywhere's a little bit different. Just because one place opens at 7 doesn't mean another one does as well. So next time we come, we know to come earlier. Between Florida, New York City, and San Diego, I have found so much Atlanta, Georgia 1996 Olympic stuff. It's incredible, but none of it's worth it.
So we just got out of that one. Chris?
Bathroom, not too good.
No. Okay. Rate the restroom with Tom. With Chris. Out of 10, what would you give it?
Had multiple exits in it, one in the front, one in the back. The stalls were right there.
But Chris, what did you think of the swap meet itself today?
F.
Yeah, today
Minus.
today did not go well, but you still got to see a little bit.
Everybody leaves early. Opened at
5 a.m.
It's opened at 5.
It's open at 5 a.m.
Oh, we got here at 10, so I guess that makes sense.
But they close at 1, but people were already gone by 10. So it must be like a mad dash at like 6 a.m. to like get all the stuff? I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. We're slowly figuring it out, but it was fun.
High key, probably shouldn't be in a drive-in parking lot either.
Yeah,
A lot of bumps.
All right, well, we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to click that like button. And if you have some extra time, check out some of these other episodes. Thanks!